All right, let's be real for a second. Have you ever opened up the Bible, super motivated, and then it just falls flat? You feel kind of lost, or, maybe you've been reading it for ages and it's starting to feel a little same old, same old? Well, today we're going to completely flip that script. We're diving into 25 fresh ways to turn reading the Bible from just a habit into a real, genuine adventure. Okay, so first things first, the Bible is not boring. I know, for a lot of us it can feel super intimidating or, let's just say it, a little dry sometimes. But what if the problem isn't the book itself, but just how we're approaching it? The whole idea we're digging into today is that the Bible is this dynamic, living thing, and finding the right way to connect with it, man, that can change everything. So, how do we do that? How do we unlock all that potential? Well, it starts by realizing there's no single correct way to read it. Nope. Instead, I want you to imagine you've got this awesome toolkit with 25 different tools inside. Each one is built for a different kind of discovery. This isn't about just checking a box off your to-do list. It's about gearing up for a legit adventure. And to make this journey a little easier, we've broken down these 25 methods into a few main categories. First, we'll get into some creative hands-on stuff. Then, we'll look at some deep study techniques. After that, we'll cover devotional and active practices. And finally, we'll talk about how you can find your own unique path through all of this. Sound good? All right, first up, creative and hands-on methods. This section is for all of you who learn by doing. The artists, the builders, the creators. It's all about getting the word off the page and engaging it with your hands, your heart, and your imagination. And trust me, the options here are just incredible. You could, for example, just slow everything down by writing out a passage by hand. Or hey, maybe you're more of a visual person. Why not draw a comic strip of a story like Jonah and the Whale? You could even use colors to express the emotions you feel in a psalm, or create a cool visual mosaic of key themes right in your journal. The whole point is to get those words off the page and into your hands and your mind in a new way. Okay, let's zoom in on one of these. It's a particularly beautiful one called the sunshine technique. It's this really neat method that mixes words, colors, and themes together into something that's both meditative and honestly just stunning to look at. Let's break down how it works. It's actually a really simple 3-step process. First, you pick a passage that speaks to you. Then you pull out the key words and ideas that really jump out. And finally, you arrange them on the page like rays of sunshine, using different colors to capture the vibe of the text. It's basically a way to create a beautiful visual summary of what God is showing you. Now, the real magic behind all these creative methods is how they help with this crucial spiritual transformation, turning logos into RHEMA. So what does that mean? Well, logos is the written word on the page, the text itself. But RHEMA, that's when that text springs to life for you personally. It becomes a living, specific word for your exact situation. These creative practices are amazing tools for bridging that gap, for moving from just information to actual revelation. All right, let's shift gears a bit and move on to our next section, deep study techniques. So if that first category was all about engaging your heart and hands, this one's for the thinkers. It's for those of you who love to analyze, connect the dots, and really dig deep into the meaning and structure of the text. And a really powerful example of this is something called the trio method. This is a fascinating way to see just how interconnected the entire Bible is, weaving together the Old Testament and the New. The process is so simple, but wow, is it powerful. You just read 2 chapters from the Old Testament and 1 from the New, and you're specifically looking for connections, echoes, and themes that pop up in all 3. This method is brilliant because it demonstrates a core principle of study. The Word explains the Word. All of a sudden, you'll start seeing these incredible threads of creation, redemption, and God's faithfulness woven through the entire story of the Bible. And what's cool about these deep study methods is that they offer a whole range of focus. So on one end, you've got something like mind mapping, where you can visually connect ideas from all over Scripture to see the big picture. But then on the other end, you have a technique called grilling, where you systematically meditate on just a single verse, asking question after question to dig as deep as you possibly can. So you've got both breadth and depth. Okay, next up, we're moving into devotional and active practices. This is where it gets really practical. This is where the Bible moves from your head and your heart and right into your hands and feet. These methods are all about taking what you've read and turning it into prayer, into song, and into real, tangible action in your everyday life. And just look at how action-oriented these are. You can literally declare promises from the text over your life. You can turn a passage directly into a conversation with God. You could even get bold and try putting scripture to music. The whole goal here is to internalize the word and then express it outwardly. You know, one of the most powerful methods in this entire category is also one of the most relational. It's simply called encourage. This is such a simple practice, but it takes your personal reading and turns it into an amazing gift for somebody else. It is so simple, but it's incredibly profound. All you do is think of someone in your life. Let their name just come to your heart. Then find a verse that you feel might lift them up, and you just send it to them. A text, an email, whatever. This tiny act can open up doors and create the most amazing conversations. It completely transforms Bible reading from a solitary thing into a powerful act of connection and community. Okay, so we've looked at creative methods, we've dug into deep study techniques, and we've talked about active practices. And all of that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing, finding your way. See, this isn't about mastering all 25 methods, not at all. It's about discovering which one or which ones really resonate with you, right here, right now. So as we start to wrap up, just take a look at these 3 main pathways we've explored. Do you see yourself in one of them? Are you kind of drawn to the creative, hands-on stuff, or maybe the deep study techniques? Or are the active, devotional practices calling your name? The best part is, there is no wrong answer, and you can totally mix and match depending on your mood or what season of life you're in. So, that really is the question, isn't it? After seeing this whole menu of options, which method are you going to try first? Which one sparks your curiosity? Maybe it's the artistic freedom of that sunshine method. Maybe it's the intellectual challenge of the trio. Or maybe it's the real-world impact of encourage. The invitation is right there. Just pick one and give it a shot. Because ultimately, that's what all of this is really about. These 25 methods, they aren't the destination. They're just the tools, the pathways, the different routes you can take on the journey. Because the real goal isn't just to read a book or check off a chapter. It's to meet the author. And that is the greatest adventure of all.